Hello and welcome to a long-term review of Thursday boots. Now, before we begin, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. Now, if you're anything like I was pretty skeptical when I went online to find these boots. I had seen ads before on Facebook and YouTube about Thursday boots, but I never usually like to buy things online, especially when it comes to these, because I can't touch them, I can't feel the quality, and I can't put it on to see if the shoe actually fits. So after going on their website, I decided that I was going to get the Captain in brandy. Now, I'm really glad that I did, because honestly, this has become a staple of my wardrobe that I usually use almost every day. It has probably replaced 3, if not 4 pairs of shoes that I used to wear on a pretty regular basis. Now, for me, the big thing at first was quality. I wanted to make sure that the quality of this was going to be something that held up. And I've owned these boots since about mid-2019, and I can tell you, these boots are absolutely fantastic. Now, for me, the first thing that usually goes is inside the heel area. And that area on every other boot I've ever owned usually starts to be the one that shows the sign of wear first. So the first test that I put these in was, as soon as I bought them, I went and took them on a trip to Disneyland. Now, they were the only pair of shoes that I had during that entire time, so I knew that it was going to be a good test of their quality as well as the break-in period. So the first thing I will say is the break-in period was actually a little bit longer than what I'd experienced with any other kinds of boots. So that, I imagine, is because of the quality of the leather. Now, the leather itself is a little bit stiffer than it was on some of the other boots that I have, but honestly, it wasn't any of those things that I found to be too uncomfortable or anything like that. Now, another area that's also worth mentioning is the eyelets. Eyelets on boots for me are usually one of the things that take a really heavy beating, because I like to make sure that my boots are nice and tight and they don't flop around on me or anything. Previous boots that I've had, some of these eyelets would just rip off the leather entirely, which again shows the quality of the boots from those certain manufacturers. These boots, on the other hand, again, are absolutely fantastic. They are some of the most sturdiest eyelets that I've had in a pair of boots. Now, another big concern for me was longevity in the elements, because I used to live in El Paso, Texas, and the desert sun was a really big concern for me for drying out my shoes and the leather in particular. And I will say from experience, again, they held up great. And there was no concern whatsoever for any kind of elements, be it rain or heat or snow or anything like that. Now, another thing to mention is, if you're somebody who lives in those areas where it rains a lot or it snows a lot, these boots are not waterproof. Now, that's probably because when the boots come to you, they're not really treated with anything. And I wore these through a snowstorm once, and my boots started to get a little wet after the end of the trip. Now, that's not to say that after a good polish, you wouldn't be able to put these through their paces during a snowstorm. But again, if you're buying these with the intent of going through any kind of snow or heavy rain or anything like that, it might be something to take note of. Now, one of my favorite things about these boots, I must say, is how a new polish to these boots will completely reinvigorate them. There's really nice creases that go along the boots that give really good character, which you really don't see in a lot of other boots. And especially because I even own some suede boots as well, and my suede boots don't clean up nearly as nice as these do. One area that's often overlooked in boots, at least in my opinion, is the laces. Now, more often than not, I find myself having to go and buy new laces, because the laces that are on these boots are so awful. They're either too small, too short, too long. But these boots, I will say, come with an excellent set of laces, which are actually really nice to touch. They're not too soft, they're not too hard, and they really haven't frayed on me with pretty regular use. Now, the sole of these boots is something that's worth mentioning. From what I've read, it's a unique design for the company. Now, I personally haven't found them to be too exceptional, but I also haven't found them to be all that bad either. And for a good pair of boots like this, the thing that I look for the most is, again, the quality of them. They work. And in previous boots that I've had, the first thing that usually goes is the sole. And there's areas that usually crack on me, which can sometimes let water in depending on how big the crack is. And some of them would even start to rip and tear along different seams after continuous use. So it's really nice to see that they paid attention and got that kind of detail down. Overall, if you're waiting to buy a pair of these Thursday boots because you're still trying to do the research, or you're trying to find other long-term reviews to see if these boots are going to hold up, I can tell you beyond a doubt that you should buy them. These are some of the best boots that I have ever owned. So with that being said, please let me know your thoughts on Thursday boots in the comment section below. Thank you.